Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. Right, if you do follow the channel, you know exactly what we are doing here because you most likely already seen the video for this car. So this car came to me with apparently a misfiring, a little bit of smoke on the exhaust every now and then, although I haven't seen nothing too concerning, but I was told every now and then would smoke a little bit, and it had a slight misfiring. If you watch the other video, you've seen that the car had more issues than that. Someone tried to cover the problem with this car, as you've seen probably on the other video. If you didn't, guys, I'll leave a link in the description below for that video, so you know exactly how we got to this stage. But basically, what we got to is that this car has the quite well common eccentric valve lift shaft problem. And I'm not going to take you here through what the codes are, all that good stuff. However, I'll just leave here somewhere the codes I was getting in this particular case. We did a few tests with the Maxi-Sys. I don't know if I did it with the Maxi-Sys, but I did definitely with Eister. Tests failed, and then a little bit of digging into this, and we start to see the problem. So the problem with this is, again, as I said, the well-known problem with the shaft, the motor, the gears worn out. The engine on this is so this, by the way, I haven't said it yet. This is a 2013 BMW M135i with the N55 engine. And yeah, so once I got, this is just here. If you watch the other video, it's just here. I already had all of these out, and I've showed you on the other video where the issues are. So this video, guys, is not going to be here to diagnose anything. It's literally just to show you how you do replace the eccentric shaft motor, the eccentric shaft itself. We're going to replace it by replacing a lot of parts, and how to get this done. That's all it is about. There is plenty of videos out there showing you this, so if you think someone else did a better job than I'm going to do, let me know. Probably a lot of people will, even because there's people out there with way more experience. It's the very first time I'm touching one of these things, so I'm going to learn as I go along. So I got all the parts so far, apart from one thing that BMW didn't have all 6, but I'll show you there in the bench in a second. We have all the parts we needed. Probably would replace a few more couple things, but I don't really see the need of that. Some people replaces the oil squirt. There's a little here on top of this motor, there's a little oil squirt, which is like a pipe, a metal pipe. If the pipe is not blocked or anything like that, I don't really see the reason of replacing that. It's just a little hose. I don't see the need of replacing that. Some other people replaces all the bolts that holds the caps on the camshaft. I don't believe, BMW told me they are not replaceable. They are not to be replaced. They are not one-time use, if that makes sense. So I don't see the point to really replace those if they are good. Obviously, when you take everything apart, if I see any issues, then I will get more parts if needed. But at the moment, we have spent £1,300 in parts. Okay, and this is the parts, and that's how much £1,300 gets you. This, and that's it. Okay, so we have the new motor. Okay, this is the motor. With the worm gear that actuates the eccentric shaft. As you can see, they're brand new, manufactured in October 2023. Okay, so brand new motor. Look, I don't know the prices individually of all of this, but I think this is about 300 and odd pounds. I think it is. And then the shaft, this is the eccentric shaft, which I think is about 600 or 700 pounds. We also have new gaskets for the rocket cage cover. We do have new gaskets for, I don't know what they're called, which is these buckets here. So you'll see it later, but there is this part here, this thing here around this square thing comes off. It's like a sort of bucket that obviously goes all the way to the bottom right there, and this comes off, and underneath this there is those gaskets. There is 3 of those because each one of those buckets, if you will, is for 2 injectors, 2 spark plugs, etc. So we have 3 brand new ones. We do have the gasket that goes on the top of this little motor to seal the oil, this sort of thingy. We do have a new, and I only got the lower limit stopper because that's where the shaft always rests. Which this is, I'll show you later what it is, but is a stopper for the camshaft. And the camshaft always stops here, that when it's at the rest position. So this is the one that's been suffering more impact. I'm not going to say it's been wearing to the point where it's got rid of like a millimeter of material, of course not, but if we do it for the sake of £4, we're going to replace this stopper as well. We do have all the brand new bearings and caps for cap bearings. Cap bearings, that they call it? I'm not sure what they call it. Anyway, I'll show you later. For the eccentric shaft, there's 6 bearings, and then the caps, the sleeves that goes on the caps, if you will, where the bearing runs. So all brand new. We do have the 6 new Teflon seals. And we do have, I think they call it the coupling seals or the coupling rings or something like that. There's only 5 of them here because BMW only had 5, but I ordered a new one, and it should be here tomorrow, but I don't need it yet. This is only for when we put everything back on. As I said, £1,300, and this is just in parts. I'm still probably gonna replace the spark plugs when you do this, so am I gonna have to spend another 60 quid? They're about £10 each, I think they are, so it's gonna be another £60 for spark plugs, and we're gonna do an oil change on this as well. I'm gonna tell him that he's gonna have to do an oil change on this, so it's still a little bit more money to spend, and this is just on the parts, guys. So what we're gonna do next is start to take things apart. So I hope the weather holds because it's a little bit not too good, so I'm gonna have to pull that out again. They are not tied in place, they are just put in there. We're gonna pull this out, the cover again. The cover is just here, so we can just pull it out. That's really easy. And then, as you've seen, guys, I've done a little bit of work already. Was only, guys, up to here is only nuts and bolts. Like, you take the fuel lines, etc, etc, you take the coils. You don't need to mark the coils because they go whatever. The injectors, though, we'll have to mark them up because they're going to be programmed to the ECU, and we want to put them back into the same place. And then you have all these bolts around. It's only plugs and things like that, so surely you guys will not struggle to get to this point. So yeah, we're going to pull all of these out again, and then we're going to carry on from where we left. Yeah, that's it. The next thing to remove is going to be the injectors. Now, ideally, I would have the tool to remove the injectors. I think I'm going to buy that tool because the tool is also good to put the injectors back in, because they need to be kind of pressed in place, and the tool does both. The tool does allow you to pull the injectors out, but it also allows you to push the injectors back in place. So I think I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to get the tool. The tool is not too expensive, to be fair, and there is 3 times you're gonna have to do this. So maybe that it is worth to get the tool and do the job properly. So if I do need the tool, I might gonna have to stop, not for today, at some point, because I'm not gonna risk it to damage anything. But yeah, let's gonna do this. Okay, and the first one is out. First one in there, and honestly, if they all came out like this, I'm definitely not going to buy the tool, at least not to pull them out. We'll have to see then to put them back in, but let me put the phone here so I can show you how I've done it, if the phone holds itself in place. Put the phone here somehow, maybe like so. There we go. You're going to be able to see me. So what I've done, I got one of the fuel lines, then I just screw the fuel line in there on the top of the injector, and then you just pull it. That's it. Really simple. Really simple, guys. And one of the things I noticed is, so there we go, so this is the Teflon seal. I'm a little bit concerned because these came quite dry, but this one came like this, full of oil. Not really sure why, but yeah. Okay, So we're going to pull them all out and then move into the next step. Okay, so the injectors are all out apart from these two, but I'll pull them out. I found an issue already, and I think I'm just gonna show you, because either someone messed up or someone actually did these right. I don't know. So I pulled the first two, and they were marked 1 and 2, and the way they were marked was with little spots, yellow marks like that. Okay, so I got 1, 2. Then when I got 3 out, the 3 was this one. As you can see, it has 4 marked spots. Then when I went to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is that one, does have 3. And then 5 is correct with 5, and 6 is also correct with 6. So either someone put these two wrong, or they put them the other way around and they co-programmed correctly. I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save them like this. Okay, then I will take, I think that's the code. Where's the code for the injector? Surely there is going to be a code somewhere. It's going to have to be a code here somewhere, I guess. I'm not sure where it is. Maybe this, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I'm going to have to investigate because I'm not 100% sure. But these injectors must have come from already another car, because look, you see in there 1, and then number 6, add in there 2. So these are not the original injectors, probably already been messed around, whatever. So we're going to do that, and so it's easy for me to remember their positions. Okay, so I got one bucket. I don't know what they call it, to be honest, but I got one out. We're going to take the middle one, and this is purely just to show you. So there is 2 bolts down here, one on each side, and that's all, because the other bolts that holds this is the 2 bolts that holds the injectors at the same time. So we're going to pull one out on the side, and obviously then the last one is the same, so I don't need to be showing you repeated processes because it's all the same thing. Okay, and now to free that up, I'm just going to do this. There we go. And this comes out. What the f... Oh no, Jesus. For a second, I thought someone put this without the gasket, but no, the gasket was here. But we have new gaskets for this anyway, as you guys have seen. So that's how this comes off. Okay guys, and as I dive into this, more, I don't know. The car was only complaining about these issues. So anyway, so obviously at this point we blocked the holes for the injectors. We don't want to drop anything in there. But as I was looking around here, I've noticed that I don't know if you can see there, 1902-21. So has this been, the car is a 2013, so this has been already replaced by the looks of it. Don't know if anything else has been, but also I've noticed something here as I was looking at this. Let me show you this. So these caps here, they are marked. I don't know if I'm gonna be able, actually let me do something different, maybe like that. As you can, no, like that. I'm gonna have to actually take the phone out of the support, and I can just do it like so. So they have marks there, so you can see in there that cap, see in there, 1, and they are all marked like that. Look, 2, where is the 3? 3 right there underneath. Can you see that? 3, 5, 6, and you might be wondering why I skipped 4. Because 4 is upside down. I don't know if they are as crucial. I don't think they are, because they have internal caps. So surely they are not as crucial as the camshafts are, because these ones, they have a sleeve where the actually roller bearing runs on. So putting it the other way around probably doesn't have that much of an importance, but definitely something there that was done incorrectly, I'll say. So at this point everything is out, these three buckets, if you will. We're going to remove the motor. To remove the motor, we're going to have to get a 14mm spanner. We're going to turn this that way to the maximum, okay, and take these screws out, and then these should just slide out. But before we do that, we're going to take the oil squirt pipe, which is this one here, and this is when I was saying I don't really see the point of replacing this if it's not blocked or anything like that. So there is this little hose here that clips here. Come on. Little hose, which actually, wow, this was left completely bad, because this was left here. Wow, look at the state of it on the underside. See? So whoever puts this was put in a way that the shaft has been rubbing against this. And actually, I was just looking now, this squirty thing, oh, I'm gonna have to get another one. I was saying I wouldn't get another one, but I'm gonna have to, because let me show you the state of this. So look at the state of this thing. So this has been put wrong, and actually gear has been rubbing here and has been catching right here at the end. Look at this, completely all eaten away. It looks like even it's tilted, it's twisted a little bit, because it's I'm pretty sure this is only supposed to squirt oil here in this little opening, and look at this, it's been all eaten away on the side. So this has been catching. So someone put this in wrong and left it touching everything, and it destroyed everything. Another thing that I've also just learned, guys, is that I was looking for some torques, just curiosity, and this is supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And not, as I've showed you earlier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is the order of these caps, how they are. It's 1, 2, if you've seen, but it's actually supposed to be the other way around. It's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So even that, someone got it wrong. I just went to check torques, because I wanted to know what the torques on these bolts is going to be. It's 10 Newton meters. These ones are 8.5. The caps, and everything else, to be honest, around here is 10. This is 10, everything else is 10. And just before I stop recording, so I'm gonna have to order this oil pipe. And why I think some of this stuff is way more than 10. I'm gonna have to get my long, hold on a second. That's better, these long ones. Careful not to drop anything. Whew, these were scary. Right, Jesus, I put the camera to see where it was. Right, I know I stopped recording because for a split of a second I just, Jesus, wow. Okay, It's going to be more careful now. Wow. Let me take a pause. Okay, so let's gonna do the next one, the next step. So now we're gonna turn this there. We're gonna put it so the stopper here comes away from this. Once the stopper comes away from this, we can take, once this part of the camshaft comes away from the stopper, we should be able now to, what's the size of that? It's 11, looks like an 11. Wow, that was really scary. So I don't do another same mistake. Okay, stopper is out. Now with the stopper out of the way, we should be able to turn the shaft a little bit further away from the motor. I'm just holding the motor because I got all the screws out, and there we go. Sorry guys, I got interrupted. So I've skipped this step, I do apologize, but basically what you do is you hold the camshaft, the shaft, the eccentric shaft on this end. Okay, obviously the motor is going to be here, and then with this, an Allen key here, you put an Allen key through here, and you can turn the worm gear. Okay, you can turn the motor, yeah, and then you just keep rotating until that gets completely out of the way from the motor. You see, there we go. You see, because you don't have the stopper there, that allows the shaft to overturn a little bit more, and that will give you room for the motor to come out, as you're going to see, like so. See? So, okay, you might need to get a little bit out of the way, like turn it like so, a little bit on the side to allow it to come out, but it comes out okay. Yeah. So now we're gonna put the shaft in the rest, and now we're gonna start to take the caps off. I think that's the next step. Okay, I was there just inspecting things, and I even rang BMW, and BMW says the pictures don't really show, but I just don't understand one thing here. So if this, so I rang BMW to order these, okay? Then I was inspecting the bolt, and this is just a normal bolt. It's a little bit longer than the other ones, which has this flat area here to obviously accommodate this part, but it's just an ordinary bolt. And I was just wondering how the hell the oil is going to come through this camshaft cap here, sort of. How the oil is going to come through there to get to here. It doesn't make any sense. This should be a banjo bolt, and for the sake of me, I don't understand how the hell this works. Is this a, I don't know, I'm stumped right now. Is this the wrong bolt? Someone put the wrong bolt here. Obviously BMW tells me they can get me the bolt, but they don't know if it's a normal bolt or a banjo bolt. I'm gonna have to dig a little bit into this to understand what the heck's going on here, because with this bolt there's no chance any oil will come up here. It's impossible. So right, anyway, that's gonna take the shaft, and then we'll get to this a little bit later. Also guys, it might worth to mention, one thing that I've noticed is, looks like everything is over tightened. It's over tightened because this is supposed to be 8.5 Newton meters, and this feels much more than that. Oh. And all the bolts that I've removed, everything looks like it's over tightened. And I don't know if that's is really the case or not. So there is 2 bolts to release. go. So now it's a matter of taking everything out and moving to the next step. Okay, the eccentric shaft is removed, and I have one left. Oh God. One of these bearing sleeves, if you will. Last one to remove. Obviously we have all of these new, so we don't need this. And on the car, for now, I think that's it. I don't have much more daylight left, so we're gonna cover all of this, protect all of this from the weather, etc. And I think the next set of work is obviously to be done on the bench, preparing the eccentric shaft and all that good stuff. So that's what we are going to be doing next. Okay guys, and this is done for today. I've already put everything back on, put a plastic cover underneath the plastic, put a plastic cover underneath this in case if any water managed to get there, because obviously now we don't even have a lot of other stuff, so I don't want any water to get into the engine. So everything is pretty much covered, should be okay. But that's it for today. So on the car, obviously, what we do have here though is obviously we have the camshaft, the eccentric shaft, the old one. And I would like to correct one thing, because I don't know if I mentioned it, or I think I already did. So I don't know why T's Online shows me cylinder 1. It shows me these caps starting 1 at the back of the engine, bulkhead side, and then number 6 being at the front. But when I've actually checked a little bit better, it's actually supposed to be, from my understanding, is supposed to be actually the way it was. One at the front and the rest, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like these caps were actually in the right place, and it looks like it was just the that number 4 that was upside down. To be fair with you, this is not, I'm not going to say it's not too crucial, because the bearings, this is not like sort of just normal camshaft bearings. It's actually a bearing, and obviously the bearing runs on this, so it doesn't run on that, so it shouldn't be much of an issue. Yeah, that's, so we're going to put them back the way they came out. So what we're going to do now is get the new shaft, the new camshaft out from the box, and we're going to start to assemble the new one. And here we have the new one. There it is. So now we're going to get the old one in there. Actually, I'm going to take all these bearings out so I can give all the old parts back to the owner. So we're going to put them inside the bag. Anyway, the way we assembled this, where are the bearings? I think this is the bearings. The bearings, they came as a kit. As you can see, everything comes sealed inside. I bought these as a kit. I don't know if you can buy them separately, but okay. Yes, yeah, they come like with the sleeves and the bearing on each bag. There it is. Actually, I don't even know where I was. One thing that I'm going to say is that you might want to use assembly oil for this, which probably would be the correct way to do it. I'm not going to use assembly oil. I don't have any to start with, but second, because I don't really think is that necessary. Plus, I'm not going to buy assembly oil for 6 bearings, and then I'm probably never going to use it again. What I'm going to use though, however, is I'm going to use oil from my M5 10W60. This is a quite thick oil already, so hopefully that will do the job. Plus, guys, any oil that you're going to use, as soon as you start the engine, it will be washed out. So, and we're going to change the oil even before we start the engine for the first time, hopefully. So the way these bearings goes in, I will show you how you take them out and put them in, is exactly the same thing. So they come out, they split here halfway in the middle, and you just pry them open and they come off. Okay, so to put the new ones in is exactly the same thing. You just open them, we'll slide them in there. They have these little tabs that keeps them from moving side to side, and then the caps obviously for that. We're going to actually clean everything first, especially these caps, but that's how we go. So I'm going to pour a little bit of oil somewhere, and we're going to lubricate everything and just start to slide them in. Okay, there we have a little bit of the oil. As you can see, look, it looks like honey. Looks like honey. Look at that. It's really thick oil, so this should be more than okay. And the way we do it obviously is we just put a little bit of oil in here. Okay, now we open this. Can you see the camera? Yes, you can. You pull it that way a tiny bit, and now we pry this open. There we go. That's it. And now we do this 6 times. Obviously these sleeves, if you will, we're going to do the same. Put a little bit of lubricant on this, and we go here. You have a hole in there at the bottom, and they have this little thing there. They are both the same. And just push them in. There it is. Okay, I already cleaned all these caps, as you can see. They're all cleaned now. And then the other half goes obviously on the engine, on the engine itself. And that's it. We're going to do this 6 times, and then we should be good to go to the next step. Okay, and you guys must think I'm completely nuts, which probably you are not wrong. So I got everything out, and I'm going to try to put the shaft back in today. I still have about an hour and a half available. Hour and a half, I definitely can put this back in. I have the oil here, and I've just checked again to double check T's online, and the instructions, as you can see here, definitely shows number 1 being the one at the back, and it clearly clear on the instruction says that number 1 is number 1 cylinder, 1 to 6. It doesn't say number 1 cylinder, or he says, can't remember now. Anyway, what he says is, what he shows me is that on the drawing, as you can see in there, is definitely number 1 at the back there. So I'm just going to follow what says online, what says on T's online, and I'm going to ignore the fact that these was actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to put it the other way around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. However, as you can see on these caps here, it actually shows 1 in there, 2, 3. So it actually shows 1 to 6 from the front of the engine to the back. Unless they are looking at these, depending, unless they are made these, depending on how you look at the engine. So, and it always be from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because we are on this side of the engine, it goes like that. I don't know. I'm going to follow what says online. It's going to be easier. It's going to be more of a reassurance that we're going to put these right. We're going to put these back correctly. So what we're going to do now is get the caps, put these sleeves there, as I said, and then start to put these back together. Okay, and the shaft is in place. It's moving absolutely freely. Let me just show you. Okay, oops, it's moving absolutely fine. And now, okay, one side to the other, fine. So what we're going to do now is torque these bolts. So to put these back on, guys, what I've done is, depending where your engine has stopped, obviously some of these valves springs are going to be making a lot of pressure on these camshafts. In my case, was this one here, I think it was. So what I've done is I put this cap first. Obviously the shaft was a little bit tilted. Put this one first. Then I start to push it by hand and start to put all of them until I manage to get them all in. And as soon as I have them all in, I start to go one beat at a time, every single bolt, and push. I've been here for about half an hour pushing these back in, because you don't want to obviously tight just one, because you're going to bend the shaft or whatever. So you need to do these very careful. Ideally, yes, all of these will be out and these will go with no pressure, but that's just the way it is. But it's all back in. Now we're going to do 8.5 Newton meters on every single bolt. I'm going to start from the middle. I already did this one here. I think it was this one here that I've done. Yeah, this is done. Just double check the bottom one. Yeah. Oh, it's a little bit tight. Now I'm gonna go on the next one. There we go. The next one. So I've done these two. Now I have two on each side. Doesn't matter, I can do these two and then these two and so forth, but it doesn't really matter. So we're going to torque all of this, and then probably my next step is going to have to be actually putting the motor in, but we'll just finish this and then we'll carry on from there. Okay, the next step, I've already been putting some oil here on this sort of sprocket. Plenty of it. Already put oil here as well. And now I'm going to put the motor here, like so. Okay, let me get the bolts. Okay, let me see if I don't drop a bolt now. I've just cut myself as well to help out. Okay. Might be worth to mention that where is all my tools? Might be worth to mention that I already did something else for this oil here. Sorry guys, I'm going to interrupt it. And torque on these 3 bolts is 10 Newton meters. And now we are going to use this to push that into the worm screw, and now we're going to put this at the top and we're going to wind these up. There we go. Now we can take these off. There we go. Look at that, beautiful. Okay, now we're gonna move this all the way to the other end so we can put the stopper in there. Okay, okay, that should hold in there, I think. That's gonna get the stopper. Okay, and the stopper again, pretty much everything around here is actually 10 Newton meters, apart from these caps that for some reason BMW deemed that as 8.5. Everything else take the opportunity to check the other one. fine. Okay, so now we should be able to bring this back. So that stopper in there. There is. Sweet. This seems very, very good to me. So, what do we have next? Let's put these back on with the injectors and all that good stuff. But before we do that, while I have these out, I want to clean the bottom of this, where the injector goes, because there's a little bit of rubbish in there, etc. But yeah, it's looking good. Okay guys, and I think you can already see now that I've connected that. I'm just curious to see now if this motor is going to turn or not. So I'm going to try to do the limit stops, which can be done like this. Then, as I said, there's initialization sort of that needs to be done, obviously, with the engine running. The only thing I'm a little bit skeptic now is about the fuel pump, because if I turn the ignition on, I'm going to have fuel coming out there. That's going to be not very goody. Okay, so I've just done a test, a vehicle test on everything. So obviously the fuel pump is offline because, as I said, I took all the fuses out. I don't care what the codes are there at the moment. We have so many stuff unplugged that the chances are there's loads of codes in there. I just want to go to vehicle management. I'm going to show you where those functions are. We're going to go to service functions. That's going to be powertrain. Then it's going to be engine adjustments, most likely. Yeah, there is. Right, so there's two things we're going to have to do. One is this, the learning valvetronic limit positions, which is the one we're going to do now, just to show you. And then we're going to have to do the valve running in phase, which is then with the engine running. But that's going to be or you have seen that on the other video, because we're going to do that later on. But for now, the only reason why I want to do these valvetronic limit positions, which I might redo that on the other video, the only reason why I want to do this is literally to show you that the motor is actuating. We already seen, but I just want to show you that he does that absolutely perfect. I don't know if he's going to do these now when I press continue. I can't remember now. But what we'll do now is I'm going to put the phone in there just for you to see, guys, the ECU learning the limits. Okay, and as you have seen, the motor moved absolutely perfect both ways. That's all I wanted to see at this point. Although if it didn't move, was nothing I could do. Most likely it would be something on the ECU. But good to see that the ECU is actually actuating the motor okay, because as I already mentioned back in the video, I think I did, the next only thing that could be bad was if the ECU was burned inside or was faulty inside, and was because of this could have shorted, could have burned the ECU. Well, many things could have happened, especially on cars that's been done like this. So all we're going to do now is start to put everything back on. Obviously I still need that nozzle for that. I need to, well, I don't need to sort nothing about the bolt, because a few days later I just came out of night shift and I picked up all the other parts I needed, but I was here scratching my head how the hell the oil gets to that nozzle. So my only other explanation was if that would have come from underneath this gate somewhere, and it actually is. So as you've seen in there, as you can see in there, there is a hole in between the bolts. That's where the oil is pushed up, and then on the underside of these parts, they are called gates, you have that. So the oil is pushed through this tiny groove here around the bolt. It's going to be pushed up into the nozzle, and then it's going to be pushed up here on the sides, as you can see, like on this side here, and that's going to be to drip on top of this little bearings here for the valve lifters. Okay, I had to remove these out because I wanted to make sure I was not missing anything, and even for my own knowledge for the future, I know exactly how these things work, and also to make sure it was not blocked or anything like that, which it wasn't. It came out exactly like this. So that's how the oil gets to appear, because I've seen some people online, and even I was scratching my head, people online thinking that this should be a banjo bolt, which makes all the sense, but clearly is not the case in this. So I'm going to put all these back together, this, and then we'll carry on with the oil squirter, which I have already. So don't go anywhere, we're gonna carry on with this. Okay, so here we have the new oil squirter, as you can see, brand new, 23 pounds I think. And the way it goes obviously over. Yeah. What's going on here? What's going on here? Right, so it goes over this here, and it's going to clip right here at the back, in between this plastic part, which is, there we go, and it clipped. There we go, and I'll show you exactly how that goes in there. And now we're going to obviously 10 Newton meters on this. And that's exactly how it goes in there. Let me show you. There we go. So it goes right like that, over that, and then the end of it stays right above the gear, and that's where it's going to be constantly dripping oil. And just to make sure, we're going to get the 14 mil to turn this a little bit, just to make sure it's not touching. I don't want to move it like this, but no, I don't need to move it, because it's definitely not touching. We can do this differently. Oh. Okay, so as you're gonna see in there, it turns. Now that's on maximum already. There we go. It turns okay without touching the pipe. And another thing that I also bought, guys, is I also decided to replace the maximum lift stopper. So I do have a brand new one that's gonna be here. So I replaced the other side, if you guys remember, and I decided for £4 I would replace the other one as well, and we're gonna do it. And if you remember, again, 10 Newton meters for that, so we're gonna put this as well. Okay, and the next thing to put back on is this, I was calling it bucket. They're actually called buckets. They're actually called injector wells, I think they're called. Yeah, that's what they're called. But before I do that, I actually want to clean the injectors wells as well, maybe where they go, because they're a little bit dirty at the bottom. So we're going to clean all of this before we put the injectors, and then I will take you through on how to prepare the injectors to actually put them in, because there's a little bit of things you need to go through, and I don't have the tools again for this, so we're gonna have to come up with something else to do this. Okay, so the injectors, to start with, I put them in this order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you remember, I don't know if it's on this video, on the previous video I showed you, 3 and 4, they were swapped over. I'm now going to put them all in the same order. We might have to reprogram 3 and 4 because they will be swapped over. But I already have, I've numbered them here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's from the front of the engine to the back. And I already took a picture of every single one of them for the programming code, which is this last number here. So if you see like this, you see this number here right at the end. Let me put some light, maybe like that. Yeah, there we go. So you see that 274. Okay, so those last 3 digits is the programming code. And I have a picture of every single one of them. So the first thing we're going to do is prepare one injector. I will show you how to prepare one, and then the rest of them is just the same thing. And then I already clean the wells, wash them down, and is ready to go back in. But I will put that when I have 2 injectors ready to show you. Then it's just repeat everything. So for the injector, the first thing we do is we will have to cut the, let me get some, just to give it a clean. So the first thing we need to do is to cut the old Teflon seal. There we go. Teflon seal is out. And then the next step is removing the decoupling thingy, ring. And for that, you need maybe a screwdriver. Perhaps we'll pull this out. Let's see if it does. There we go. Just pry it open. Job done. Okay. Now the decoupling ring, I don't know if you guys have seen, but let me get a new one. So the decoupling ring has this sort of shape, and it has this sort of cap here at the top. This cap is going to be facing the top of the injector, so down is not like this, is like that, and you just push it in. Job done. Okay. Now the Teflon seal is the tricky part. There is a tool to do this. I'm going to try to come up with something to get this done without the needing of the tool. So we'll have to see how it goes. But the tool basically, it does stretch the seal. Where is the seals? There, here. It stretches the seal so you can put it in there, and then you compress the seal ready to put it back into place. So here is a new one. Obviously if you try to put it in, it doesn't go in because it has the same diameter as the injector itself. So let me see if I come up with something to stretch these a little bit, and then, sorry about that, and as I was saying, and then we'll go from there. So let me see what I have. And it is the first one. Is a little bit stretched, but it will compress down, and I'll show you in a minute. But I'm going to show you just quickly another one so you can see exactly how I done it, because I didn't show you because I was not sure this would work. So let's take that out. Let's get that one out. Okay, so let me show you what I came up with. So with a cap from a pen, these 2 bits here, with one of these. Okay, so I've cut it in the right place. So I made this bit that is the exact same diameter at the end of the injector, and then the other side I've cut it so this goes just like so. Okay, and now what we do, put this on top, we put these there, and we start to push it against the injector to stretch the seal. I got turn it around, stretch it a little bit more, but now I'm gonna get this like so, and you push the seal into the injector. You need to keep everything aligned, which I'm gonna try to do while showing you on camera. I know my fingers are on the way, but it's very difficult to do this otherwise. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to do all the other ones, and then I'll be back when everything is completed. Okay, so the injectors are all ready, all with the new decoupling rings and the Teflon seals. And now the next step we're gonna have to do is compress the seals back in to the pretty much diameter of the actually injector tip, because when this goes in, this is a really tight fit. So this is supposed to go in, and then the Teflon seal will expand and will make the seal. But obviously, because we have stretched these seals, now we're gonna have to compress them. You can see there's a little bit of hoses already on these two. I'm gonna show what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the big pen tip like this. Is the same one I was using to push the seal back in, but I just put it the other way around, and that kind of starts to compress a little bit the seal. And then what I do is I'm pushing a little bit of hose like this, which is a really tight fit. There we go, and that will keep compressing the seal. Okay, and while we leave the injectors here with these plastic hoses compressing the Teflon seals, we're going to put the wells. Now I know the name, they are called wells. So I have one already there, ready to show you. So the way this goes is obviously we have new gaskets, as I've showed you. So I'll do this one for example. So this goes like this. Make sure the surface is clean, which I already done. So the seal goes like this, and then the well goes like that, and then you have two bolts here at the bottom, and then the two that actually holds the injector. So obviously we can't put the injectors just now, but we're gonna put these two first, and I do believe they are 10 Newton meters as well. I'm just gonna double check, but I'm pretty sure it's 10 as well. Okay, and the manual dictates that you should give a 8.5. Okay, now I think it's time to attempt to what? To put the injectors. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to capture a couple things here, because if you do have the tool to pull the injectors and install the injectors, there is an entire procedure for this. And the way this works is, when the injectors are in place, you put the tool, so the tool is something like this, and basically the tool screws right here where the fuel lines go, and then there's an external sort of screw that goes on the tool itself. You put the tool in place, and then to pull the injectors out, you are supposed to use the torque wrench set to 13 Newton meters with a open ratchet that goes on that part of the tool, and you undo the injectors. According to the manual, if you click the tool at 30 Newton meters when you try to pull the injectors out, you are supposed to replace the injectors. I don't think, I took them by hand as you've seen, but they were so easy to come up. I don't think you would need 13 Newton meters on a screw to pull these out. To put them back in is exactly the same procedure. So the tool was supposed to be here with these in place, with the injectors in place like that, and then the tool here, and then you're supposed to tight that to 2 Newton meters. Guys, 2 Newton meters is nothing. What is really going to compress everything in place is then the plate that goes on the top. So that's just what it is, but we are going to put them in. Hopefully this will work. So yeah, that's going to do it. So what we need to do now is quickly, so this is number 1 and this is number 2, as you can see there, 1 and 2. So what I'm going to do now is pull, let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. I don't think I am missing anything. I'm sure I'm not. Let me just double check. Okay, I don't think I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these out and push the injector in place. And I just need to be careful how the injector goes in, but the injector should be able, there we go. And this is not going in. I think I'm not pulling through. It's not pushing through the. Unless it's already in place. It might be, actually. It might be in place, actually. I'm just here pushing it up and down, and I think it's already in place. So let's kind of push the next one, and I'm pretty sure the next one is like this as well. Or they go, no, they don't go like this, are they? No, just like that. It's in place. That's it. We're gonna take these caps off. Okay, now we're going to take the bracket. Okay, here he is. When you put the bracket, just make sure you get the bracket in the right orientation, because it's like that. So as you can see, it sort of bends down here, so that's to make pressure on the injector. If you put it like this, obviously it ain't going to work. And also another thing that I've learned is when you take the injectors out, when you take them out, make sure you take this bolt to the front first and then this one, because what happens is when you take this one, this is going to try to twist, like sort of doing this. It's going to try to twist, but if this one is tightened up, you'll not allow it to do it. So you take this and then you take this one. To put it back on, we'll do the opposite. We're going to do this one at the back first. That's going to hold this plate in this position, so when you tie that one, it's not going to try to twist and twist the injectors, if that makes sense. And the torque for this is also 8.5. I'm going to double check. I'm pretty sure is also 8.5. And indeed it is 8.5. it just a tiny bit here. As you can see, it starts to pull. As you can see, look, when this all moves. The idea is that we keep this in the center. There we go. See, this tries to twist. Someone came happy from school. Right, so I'll do this so it doesn't twist. I will hold the bracket in place. Right, 2 done, 4 to go. Okay, and the next job is going to be the valve cover, and we're going to pull these out and put the new gasket. And this is going to be another video that's going to be done or recorded when it's dark, which I really hate, but it is what it is. So it's going to get this done and put the cover back on. Okay, and the valve cover is in place, and all the bolts have been tightened up just by hand. And now we're going to do the final torque, which is 8.5 Newton meters, and there is a wall sequence of which bolts to do first and so forth. So the sequence is this one here. I'm going to put it here. You can pause and take note, take a screenshot, whatever you want. So this is the pattern we're going to do. So we're going to tie these up and then we'll move into the next step. Okay, so this is start to get it to shape. So I put this main cable here, the tray at the back of the engine. There's a plastic tray for this cable. Start to put everything together. Now we're going to put the fuel lines and then the loom for this, for the injectors and for the coils and all that good stuff. Surely I don't need to take you through this stuff because it's rather simple. If you do have a open spanner torque wrench, the injectors are supposed to be torqued, or the injectors pipes are supposed to be torqued at 30 Newton meters, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have that, so I'm just going to do it how I feel right. As I'm doing this, I'm obviously putting everything the way you should, because to start this here, this sort of this sort of heat shield was completely gone, so I put some aluminum tape to secure these. I put some cable ties on there to hold everything back the way it should be, and as we put everything back on, we'll do the same. We're going to put everything right to look as best as possible, and I guess I'll get back when we are all set to go, because honestly now is basic stuff. Surely you don't need any guidance for this. Okay guys, pretty much everything in place. Now we're going to put the new gasket here, which I already showed you. That eyeball. There we go. That goes like so, nice and tight. There we go. And when you do this, just be careful, because this is obviously tightening into plastic, so you need to be careful. Surely there is a torque setting for this, but I'm not going to bother too much. Go. There we go. Now we're going to plug in all these hoses here on the sides. And plug the O2 sensors as well. It's going to be a loom here somewhere. There you go. and it's the plugging in there. And yeah, let's gonna finish this off. Okay guys, all done, all back together apart from those plastics at the back, which I'll do in a second. But what I want to do now is, it's dark already, as you can probably see, but it doesn't really matter. I want to do it today, which is a oil change even before I start this engine. It's going to get an oil change. I have the oil in the filter, everything is here ready, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to lift the car at the front, drain the oil, new oil in, new filter, and all that good stuff. I've done what I could, routing these cables, as you can see, with cable ties and some tape, etc. Tried to put it as best as I could so the cables are not going to be here rubbing anywhere. It seems like there is a lot of plastic clips that would hold these in here, maybe on this area. Then it looks like these were supposed to be here at the back. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's a lot of bits like looks like it's missing. So I've done the best as I could with what I have. But to be fair with you, quite happy with this. So obviously now, well, you already know by the time you come to this video if this worked or not, but the point of this video was not to show you if this is going to work or not. It was just to show you how you do it. And I do apologize because I know I skipped a little bit at the start, because by the time I started this video, which I was not planning to record it like this, I was already with the cover out and some other stuff. So yeah, that didn't work out very well. Plus, to be honest with you, I know this has not been very detailed. This video hasn't been very detailed, but to be fair with you guys, there's so many videos out there with the ABC on how to do this. That's just amazing. And obviously I haven't used all the required tools that you should have, but guys, to be fair with you, as you've seen, you don't really need those tools. Don't take me wrong, if I had another 3 or 4 of these cars lined up to come here to touch the same stuff, I would buy those tools, because they would make things a little bit easier and the less likelihood of damaging anything when you do things using the correct tools. But these guys was one-off for now, so there was no point for me to be spending that sort of money on tools that I would be using only once. So I decided to do it like this. And guys, you can do the same. That's not really a problem. So the only other thing I'm gonna run you through, guys, is the costs of this. I'm not going to show you the what is what. I'm just going to show you the totals. So this is all the bills I had, all the receipts, and we have one here with 64.24. We had one with 686. We had one with 23.51, 9.79, 71.23, and the biggest one, which was the one with the eccentric shaft and all that good stuff, £1,161. And on top of this, we do have as well here already the oil and the filter. And if you had all of these up, you're gonna end up with £1,400. £1,400, and this is just for parts. And I haven't done things like spark plugs and stuff like that, which I was considering at some point to do it, but I will leave that for the guy if he wants to do a service on that, from air filters and all that good stuff, if he wants to do it. But the oil change definitely is a must, because I don't know the condition of the oil in there. But as you've seen, is about £1,400, and that's this without the labor. I don't have a clue how much a garage would charge you. How much I'm going to charge is irrelevant. This is a part-time for me. I do it because I like it, because it's fun. So but guys, this is what it is. I'm not going to dwell anymore, because I want to now do the oil change today, and tomorrow hopefully we'll do all the learnings that you might have just seen on the previous video. I haven't done it yet, but hopefully you'll see that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Hope there's something here that you might gonna find useful. Who knows? If you do still have any questions or any comments, you guys know exactly how it works. Just put them below. And like always, thank you for watching.